Battlegrounds Season 23 meta. We're going to be focusing on Victory Track and Gladiator Circuit, if I can get my words out. There should be clickable tabs, which will be kind of like down here somewhere to go between the different types in the video. And we're going to talk about some good options in attack, defense, countering the counter. So many things are going to be discussed in the video. We've also got a spreadsheet, which I'll put a link to in the description. Shout out to Misty K, link to Misty K's work in the description as well. Go and support these amazing artists, infographic makers and stuff, because they do help out the community a lot, and we try and do the best we can with this channel and creating spreadsheet guides as well. So starting off the video with Victory Track. Victory Track has hashtag Secator and hashtag Provocateur interacted buffs. If you've been playing in Alliance Wars, then you'll be very familiar with how these play. You're effectively going to put on a Provocateur Defender, which is going to be a frustrating, oh, it's got a regen buff, oh great, it's got a regen effect, oh, it's missing all of a sudden. Those two, that's a very sketchy way of kind of describing it, but in a nutshell, that's kind of it. So that's why you want to bring Secator attackers in to counter. When the attack inflicts or would inflict any debuff other than stun, gain 1 indefinite Secator charge. And for this, what I'm going to be recommending in a minute when we look at the options is very much that key of, okay, quick to access debuff champions are going to be helpful, providing they are hashtag Secator. If they're not hashtag Secator, then of course that in lies the problem. But you don't have to field Provocateur champions in defense. And if you don't do that, then you don't need hashtag Secator champions. It's kind of like a lottery if people are going to actually field that, or those particular champions. So in a bit more detail, like what is Provocateur? Regeneration rate and ability power rate cannot be reduced below -25. When struck, gain a regeneration passive, healing 3% of base power, base health over 10 seconds max stacks that. Gaining regeneration effects also grant an indefinite power gain charge. Power gain charges, blah 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 blah. Reaching 18 power gain charges converts them into power gain passives, granting 100% max power over 15 seconds. And again, this goes on. While the power gain is active, defenders are more likely to throw a special attack. Incoming attacks have a 30% chance to miss. I would go with 100%. The reason I go with that is just for the sake of, this is an RNG game. 9 times out of 10, you will feel that you'll be slapped. So it's effectively, whenever an enemy fields a hashtag Provocateur champion, field a Secator champion. This will likely mean that your deck selection this particular month in Victory Track will be having, I'd say, a good chunk of Secator champions to counter any Provocateur champions that people put down. So just to reiterate, even though I think that a lot of people will be opting for some of these Provocateur champions, Enchantress I think is going to be one of them. I'm going to be trying out Man-Thing, Shathra is definitely up there, as well as Sasquatch, Mephisto, Mangog. Destroyer I think will be there, as well as Domino and Weapon X, to name but a few. And actually, if you go to your in-game tags, like you go to tags there and put the tag as Provocateur, which is right there next to me, you'll get the full list of champions that you can select for this. There's a lot more than what I put, but I feel that some of these ones are amongst some of the best options that you could choose from. They even have different things like an Unblockable with Sauron. They've got the annoying elements of regeneration that Mr. Sinister has. We've got Weapon X, the poisons with Toad, the unpredictability and frustrations that come with Dust, Ebony Maw, Kushala, and again, to name but a few. There is a lot more to that you can see on here with these ones. But that's not the only option, because you could just put general options. These general options, again, range in the frustration that you could face. I don't doubt that we will see plenty of onslaughts this month. Red Skulls, right the way through to Nick Fury's, Things, and so much more in Victory Track. So I just think that some of these Provocateur champions are likely going to be the more frustrating ones that you might see from time to time. Even more so for Enchantress. Oh my, you Enchantress defenders, of people that field defenders like that. But from an attacking point of view, it's different gravy. This is all about bringing in those Secator champions. Now, if they don't bring any Provocateur champions, use some of your general nukers. Whether or not it is going to be Silk, who is actually a great Secretary champion. But as well, your Cosmic Ghost Riders I'm more than likely going to see. You've got Serpents, Mr. Sinisters as well, Juggernauts, although there might be quite a little bug with him, but more on that another time. Hercules, Hulkling, America Chavez, the list goes on with those nukers. But if you are looking to kind of go in a different route, you could do some heal blocking. But a lot of the time, the heal block elements of what you need are likely within your hashtag Secator. So this is where I think I'll see a lot of players utilizing this team right here. There's some double whammies. You could have Red Skull, which is also a good defender, as a good attacker, as a Secator. The buff to Spider Punk means that he can be ramping up some more damage. Easy access to heal blocks with various champions like Vision. I think even Ironheart has some. Well, no, you've got Lady Deathstrike and Omega Sentinel, which are part of their kit. They're very easy to access on the heal block nature. But there's a fair few amount of champions that are going to be very helpful. Easy to access debuff champions, which again triggering off that Secator element of buff. Good luck in Victory Track. Those have been some options of attack and defense. Obviously, linked to this particular spreadsheet is in the description down below. I've been trying to figure out what is my general notes and assessment for the Gladiator Circuit this month, and I think it's either going to be down to defenders are nullify immune champions, or you have power control immune options. But for attack, nullify immune champs as well as, but also power control champions. Let's talk about it. So there are a lot of science-based champions that are buff immune. Why are buff immune champions interesting for this? Well, if they don't gain a buff, they're not going to trigger Spite, and if they don't trigger Spite, then that's good. With the likes of Titania, Spider-Man 2099, which I've got heavily ranked up, and also other champions like Red Guardian, who I've got somewhere down here, but it's definitely a good cause to rank up. Same thing with Cassie Lang, a champion I've slept on for a long time. Maybe it's a time to rank her up as well because she gains that. There's also Ant-Man as well. You could do that, but you could go to the power control route of things, and that will see you into some, well, I want him to be buff bad, but Dormammu. But I'm not sure a lot of people have a heavily ranked up version of Dormammu that's going to take on 7-star versions. But you do have Doctor Doom, you do have Vision, you do have the Deathless version of Vision, Infamous Iron Man, the future Ant-Man's got power control abilities, the same with Penny Parker and Hawkeye, to name but a few. There's more than that. Put in the comments if there's another power control option that could be good here. Now, they're not the quintessential options, they're not the best options, because you can feel that you're being countered by the counter. And the same thing that applies is like, well, with a limited amount of attackers, then just put very painful defenders. And we could put the very painful defenders right here. They're on screen. They're very painful. They're very painful defenders. There are specifics around some painful defenders, or maybe annoying ones. Ones that will gain power quickly. We'll have nullify immunity, because nullify immunity. How does that work? Again, we're talking about countering the counter of things. Okay, I've got Gallon. Gallon is I think, power control and nullify immune champion. By that, on that particular purposes, he is. I'll stick my neck out here to say that he's not going to be fate sealed and lose the buffs that he generates. Number one. Number two, he's not going to be power controlled, so he'll still keep those buffs and he'll be gaining a rapid amount of power because it can't be power controlled based on spite. And that's providing, again, you've brought in a champion like, in that certain situation, I would bring in Spider-Man 2099 or a buff immune based champion for that, because I don't want to trigger a buff. If I bring in, I don't know, Gladiator, then I'm going to buff, I'm going to get loads of placebos on me. I am also going to trigger Spite, and that Gallon there is going to reach to an SP3 faster than you can say, oh my god, the game's broken and Kabam did it. Like, that could happen. Either way, there's a lot of champions here that are power control immune that could be very effective for this one, the same way that other nullify immune options can be, again, very effective for this one. So you'll probably find some fun options. I think Thing will see a resurgence, but don't discredit. And I haven't put in the general options of here, which I'm gonna have to do, and you know it's gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen. If by magic a load of enchantresses appear And you're going to find a very painful month on your hands with that one. I think there's a lot of trial and error and testing when it comes to Gladiator Circuit. I have been asked a few times about the meta within Gladiator Circuit as to, you know, its level of complexity with it. I wouldn't say it's complex, but I would say that it's going to be frustrating depending on the fielded option. If you've got defenders that have, well, just the painful ones, Enchantress, etc., and all the usual suspects, but if you add on another layer of complexity like the Gallon situation, champion getting a load of buffs, then the placebo buffs putting on the attacker, then triggering Spite, providing you haven't brought in a buff immune champion, you're just going to see power just exponentially given up. And maybe the champion is going to throw an SP2 or an SP1, but most of these champions are going to, well, you're dunzos. It's like it's finito, like you're done for. You are literally done for with that one. So I think Gladiator Circuit this month is going to be a little bit more frustrating. Victory Track, I don't think is going to be as bad. I think as soon as you get into the Gladiator Circuit, the extent of buffs on champions, especially from, well, I wouldn't say the Cosmic line, but I would say frustrating defenders and those gaining buffs, and of course from attackers gaining buffs and all that. Rapid gain of power is going to be your Achilles heel. And whether or not you power control that, look to a lot of your techs to kind of like safeguard yourself. That may be the play. It may be the play. But then people would field Cosmics. And that again kind of counters the counter. We're talking about layers here to this as to how people approach. So I'd be interested to see how things go with Gladiator Circuit. Who's fielding what is most effective, what is the play, what is the options, because it is very spread out between those very powerful defenders, you know, those ones on screen right there, the frustrating ones, the gain of rapid power, the countering of rapid power, you know, these lot right here are those to play, and the power control immune champions, the champions that can't be power stolen, power burnt, power locked. There's much more to them, but you know what I mean. Anyway, that's been it for the video. Thank you very much. Who are you using for the Battlegrounds meta, whether Gladiator Circuit or Victory Track? Put yours in the comments, and I'll see you all soon. And we'll get some opinion and thought from everybody to expand the spreadsheet. Cheers, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.